love hip
I
hop.
want to get a couple more stories, and then we can hit the road here. Project South. I need to talk about that.
Everybody's talking about that.
Yes.
Everybody. I can't go anywhere without anyone being like, talk to me about Project
I need to know what you think about this. So I'm gonna pull up a new news story. This is actually from the 16th, so it's not that new. But one take, Jake, if you could assist me over here, please.
Answering questions about alleged corruption on the Toronto Force, Mayor Olivia Chow was being asked if she has faith in the city's police and its chief.
Every day,
We love hip-hop.
Torontonians, their trust in police.
She loved that
is
yellow jacket, man. Holy.
The chief of police has
She's
to
always
earn
in
that
that yellow
trust back
jacket.
by rooting out officers who have committed crimes.
While marking the 45th anniversary of Toronto's bathhouse raids, where trust in police was eroded after raids on gay establishments, Chow says DemQ again needs to address systemic issues within the force to earn back confidence.
We have to get to the bottom of how this could happen.
Chow, the police chief, and the head of the Police Services Board are all asking the province's Inspector General of Police to review the case. The Premier is calling it disturbing and disappointing and leaving it up to the courts to decide an outcome.
I don't want the public to lose trust in our great police, because they are incredible.
Too late, bud.
You know, there's always, as you say, any organization, there's always a few bad apples. And
While Ontario's Solicitor General, who oversees correctional services, including the member targeted in Project South's alleged murder plot,
We
wouldn't
love
comment.
hip-hop.
But the Liberal public safety critic did weigh in and is calling for a full judicial inquiry.
And there are guardrails. There are guardrails when it comes to evidence, when it comes to testimony, so that you know that the outcome is real, it's valid, it's legitimate.
The results of this investigation come at an awkward time for City Council, which is set to vote on a $90 million budget increase to the Toronto Police just next week.
We
Asked
love
whether the
hip-hop.
police still deserve the boost, the mayor says it was already negotiated and is a key part of the multi-year hiring plan.
All right. So no boost. Well, I don't think they need any boost. Well, not right now. So thoughts?
Well, they already got the boost. The mayor said that, yeah, they already negotiated the bread. They're going to get the increase and it's too late, which is crazy. I feel like there should be, like, if something like this happens, there should be some sort of clause or something where it's like, okay, to penalize you guys as a whole. Because I don't know. I feel like just penalizing a few people isn't really setting the example.
Yeah. And the public trust part too. I don't know. That's gone. I don't think that's up for question anymore.
It's not going
Are
to
you
help.
asking me? I think that the public generally and in communities that are not over policed, they haven't lost trust in the police. I think they
Interesting.
see this as a few bad apples, whereas the communities who knew how corrupt the police have been and have always been are like, oh, finally, finally, the whole world is seeing it. But
Yeah.
but the rest of society is like, oh, these like few bad apples. And one of the
Few?
apples was so bad, his bail has been denied.
Yeah.
Like that to me was probably the most shocking in all of this.
So wait, which one was that? Was one of the cops or was
Yeah.
it one of the guards?
No, one of the officers.
Mm.
So we're gonna hear a lot. This was a very lengthy investigation. My understanding was like it was like an 18-month investigation that included not only wiretaps, but they had audio probes in the cops' cars,
Damn.
in the actual cruisers, and were listening in on the police involved in like very, very significant criminality.
Wow. I do have a question based on this whole thing.
Yes.
Because you have clients that have probably been accused of certain things. And then now one of the officers, the accusing officers, or arresting officers, I mean, is in Project South.
Yes.
What happens to their case? If they're in the middle of the case, and in the other scenario, if they've already been convicted of said case, of said crime, what happens?
So it depends on the role that the officer played, but if it was one that required his credibility,
Yes.
if it was if it was like the exhibit officer, for example, or the affiant on a search warrant,
Mhm.
the defense lawyer for sure should be challenging and saying we can't rely on anything, and therefore the whole case should be stayed.
Yeah.
That's one option. If he's already been convicted, he'll have to hire an appeal lawyer because the case won't just get automatically reopened.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on the role that the officer plays. If it's a minor role, if, for example, it was like his role was just to transport the accused from one location to another, and during the course of transport, there was the audio video in the cruiser that was always on, and so you're not going to be able to establish that this particular cop did something that was problematic that affected the case.
Yeah.
It's probably not going anywhere. But if it was, like I said, the officer who was like drafting the search warrant that the police used to enter the home and find, 3 kilos of fentanyl, that the Crown's going to have a really difficult problem establishing that he can be relied on.
Yikes.
It's going to completely gut cases in which they played an instrumental role in the actual investigation or evidence collection, especially evidence collection. Because there's evidence that these cops were using cocaine. There's evidence that these cops were like actively involved in stealing evidence as well as selling, information that they were obtaining, from their databases. They were charging money to just like run names.
Nasty work.
If there were
It's scary because all of our information is in the police database, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to have a criminal record to be accessible. All of your information with the MTO, for example, like properties you own, cars you own, like everything about you as a person that can be stored in the database, the police are going to have access to.
I didn't even
It's
think about
frightening.
that part.
Right? Like it just is ordinary citizens walking around. Like they don't just have access to criminal records. They have access to like, MTO.
Everybody's records.
Yeah.
Like if they wanted you and they had your license plate, all they have to say is, yo, run these, blah, blah, blah. And then they could find your address. They could probably find everything about you.
They could find your whole driving record.
They don't even need your license plate. They could the police can use your name and figure out what cars are registered to you and what the license plates are and what address you're registered to and then provide that information.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
If it's shown that there were other officers who were aware or complicit in said officers like criminal behavior, could those other officers also be held liable for not being honest or revealing that their fellow officer was committing crimes, but it's shown that you were aware that like XYZ was doing this?
I don't know that they wouldn't be charged criminally, right? Like if I know that someone is committing a crime, it doesn't mean that, I'm going to be charged with that crime unless I'm doing something to actually like assist them or facilitate them in committing the crime, or I have an agreement with them to commit the crime. So it wouldn't necessarily be a criminal charge. I would imagine it's a breach of duty under the Police Services Act. If you know that your fellow officer is, for example, like selling personal information to a criminal organization and you're not reporting it, you're not doing anything. I don't know. I don't defend police, so I'm not familiar enough with the Police Services Act, but in my mind, that's a breach of their duties as police officers. So I would think that there should be sanctioned, within the role of police officer as opposed to like being charged.
Weird emotions.
Yeah.
Probably a little suspended with pay.
But they're getting a raise apparently, so I feel like that doesn't help with the public trust. Where it's like, okay, all you guys just got caught up in a raid, and then now you guys are getting paid more.
And we're rewarding it with more money.
We have one of the highest paid police forces in North America.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. It's like $2 billion a year.
Toronto specifically, eh?
Yeah.
That's
Toronto has
crazy.
I think we have the highest paid police force in the country
Wow.
and one of the highest in all of North America.
Yeah, and you just reinforce so many reasons why, like you told us in the beginning, why you don't represent cops. Like, oh, what a tangled web we weave.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be like a citizen who decided to do some criminal activity, but when you're like an officer of the law as a policeman, right? And now you decide to break the law, the amount of more work that you have to do as a defense lawyer is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, yes and no. Like it's not even about you have to do more work. It's like I said at the beginning, I feel like in life we have to pick sides, right? Like you have to decide how you want to live your life. And there's codes to everything. And I think that, we talked earlier on about me not suborning perjury. So if a client tells me something, I can't put them on the stand to say something else because as an officer of the court, I'm not allowed to produce evidence that I know to be false.
Yeah.
Right? That's a line I'm not allowed to cross. And I think that when you're a police officer, there's lines you can't cross and shouldn't be crossing, and yes, they're human and they make mistakes, sure, but not in the course of your duties, not selling people's information to criminal organizations.
To kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not even just like, go send a little, put an angry note in their mailbox or something. No, you're giving them information so you can take them off the earth. Like, you need to be charged to the utmost degree, in my opinion, more than the average criminal, because you're there to defend us, and you're literally breaching our trust by giving out this information.
Paid for by our hard-earned tax dollars that we're all paying. Like, we pay their salary and have an expectation that they are going to serve and protect. That's their tagline, to serve and protect. So you're supposed to be serving and protecting the public that pays you, and not those that you're supposed to be protecting the public from.
Exactly.
Like,
That's so twisted.
It's frightening.
Yeah. Listen, man, again, there's no salutes to anybody at the end of this segment, because it's just nasty people.
We
Thanks
love
for
hip
watching.
hop.
If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out these other videos on the screen, and make sure to like and subscribe.
We love hip hop.